centerpiece is going to be done on a candlestick base. Now I picked this up from Goodwill. All right, and I made sure I put a nice good coat of spray paint on here so it is nice and white. And then I added on here, this has been on here, it's been on here for a couple months. It is a can of, it's called Great Stuff Gaps and Cracks. It is spray insulation that comes in a can. And I sprayed it on here about half the thickness, and then it, within 24 hours, it puffs up to this full thickness that we are seeing right here. So I'm going to be putting everything into here because this is going to act like my floral foam. Okay. Everything else is going to come kind of out of this. I'm thinking that it's going to be roughly about this high. What's going to determine the height is, this is kind of the main thing that I'm going to be putting in here. These are fireworks. Yay. Now I'm going to trim down this stick, but I am going to try to keep these little trails here, these little silver trails kind of coming off, but I have 3 of these. All right. So we're going to be putting 3 of these in, okay, kind of different directions. You've got that. This was left over from another project, so I'm kind of grabbing some things that I got maybe 1 or 2 of, tossing them in here. This is a lovely bouquet of patriotic florals that I got. I don't remember if this was from General Wholesale or if this was from Craft Outlet. I'm not exactly sure, but I do know that the tag calls this Kayla Rose Bush times 14, H18. All right, and it's got some of the little white baby's breath on there, so we love that. That's going to be our florals. Our greenery base is going to be 3 stems of this. This is red, white, and blue mixed greenery bush called 60919. It is our favorite mixed greenery bush. Those of us in the industry, we live it, we love it, we breathe this mixed greenery bush. Got some other different glittery picks and things. I'm not quite sure what I might end up putting in there. These I got last year from Old Time Pottery. So these are some fun little patriotic hats. This I got in a subscription box from Decor Exchange. So this is, I've been kind of waiting to find something to use this in. So we're going to use that, as well as maybe a jingle bell. That's so cute. I might save this though for something that's going to go on a door because I want to save that jingle bell for that. So I think I'm going to put this behind me for right now. I'll keep it within arm's reach. But the other thing I want to try to put in here are, perhaps if it works, I've never tried to do this in an arrangement before, but I have these jewels that I'm going to try to put in here. Okay. So we're going to see. I'm probably going to be having to, stick them in with picks and then kind of glue them to some other stuff to make sure they stay straight. But not side by side because that looks like boobs. And our arrangement does not need boobs. Granted, they are perky and they are the same size. So, of course, I am jealous of these. But, yeah, maybe like 1 up, 1 down, kind of something like that we might end up going with. All right. But for right now, what I want to start with is making a bow. Now, for this one, I'm going to use this 1.5 inch ribbon. This is the only ribbon I'm going to use because there's already so much visually going on. I don't want to make it more complicated by adding in more patterns of other things. So I'm going to make this bow. I'm going to bring over my Easy Bows Design Pro. There's a link tree in my profile. You can link to it. You can get your own, but I love the Pro because it's got a taller dowel and it also has a plastic dowels here that don't slip out. So it's much easier for me to make bows on these. Plus, it's also wider. But they have a smaller version. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put my 1.5 inch over there. Now I want this to be, since this is my only pattern, I'm going to make quite a few loops of this. But I was trying to debate what I was going to do with the bottom. And I would love to have curls coming down. Okay. So if I kind of like, I'm just going to show you on here. If I kind of curl this, kind of like, it's sort of like the width of my index finger, okay? If I curl it like that, and then I pull it down a little bit, right? So then you end up getting these tendrils like that. So that might be kind of what I do for having some of these tails coming down the front, okay? So let me measure that out. This ended up being about 15 inches. I'm going to go a little bit more. I'm going to make it a 16-inch tail, okay? After I bended it down. Now, I did not dovetail this. I kind of just bent it under. I can dovetail this when I'm done, but if I do tendrils and curls, I don't really want it dovetailed. I want a nice flat end, okay? So I'm going to put this in here, pinch and twist. All right, so that I am looking, and the left side is the back of my ribbon. I want to figure out how wide do I want these loops. If this is the center, this arrangement will probably end up being about 16 inches wide. So I don't want 8-inch loops. That'd be way too big. But I think if I did 5-inch loops, one on either side. So let's take a look at what that would look like. A 5-inch there and a 5-inch on the other side. Okay. And now I'm gonna take this out. I do this sometimes. I want to hold it up and see, what does this look like here? Is this going to be too big, too small? And I do like it because it's going to be big enough. So I think the 5-inch loops are good. So I'm going to continue making more 5-inch loops on my side. So I'm going to continue pinching and twisting. Okay, over here on the left-hand side, I'm going to make loop number 2. And then pinch and twist, go right-hand side, loop number 2. Hitting at 5 inches, okay, pinch and twist, coming back down on my left. Ooh, back side of the ribbon, that's what we want to see. Bringing it back over here, pinch and twist in the middle, it's another 5 inches, pinch and twist again. Okay, so that completes my 3rd set of loops. Pinch and twist, now we're on set with loops number 4. It's my 4th loop at 5 inches on the left, pinch and twist on the right. My 4th loop at 5 inches on the right. Okay. Pinch and twist again. And I think I'm going to stop at 5 loops because I don't want this to be too huge, but I do want it to be nice and loopy. Okay. All right, 5 inches. And now I said I was going to have about a 16-inch. I'm going to move this over. My center spine is lined up with 16 inches on my mat. I'll come back over here, cut this even. Okay. I'm going to take this end. I'm just going to fold it under once, fold it under twice, okay? Now, like I did with the other side, I'm just going to kind of wrap this around my finger. All right, just kind of wrapping it up. I'm going to do the same with the other side, around my finger, wrapping it up. Okay, and I'm not really pulling it out of any one side. It's just all kind of all equally lining up right now. Okay, now I'm going to go get a piece of chenille stem. Actually, I have a half one. This is a half piece of chenille stem, okay? It happens to be red. Red, white, blue. It doesn't really matter because you're not going to see it, but I'm going to pull this out, okay? I'm going to wrap this around the bow. All right. Pull it nice and tight. And then for right now, I'm going to actually twist the bow. Okay, that's going to make sure that it is super, super tight in here. The tighter we can make this, the more our loops are going to pop. All right, now I'm going to twist the rest of this. Okay, and then I'm going to trim it so that the ends are equal. Okay, bow maker is going to go bye-bye. You guys almost went bye-bye. I almost knocked you all over. Whoops. Hold on. I've been crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay. All right. Make sure that's pinched nice and tight. So now I'm going to put this in my pick machine. So there's 2 things you can do. I happen to have a pick machine, but I know most of you don't. So you can get a little one of these. You can use a bamboo skewer. You can use one of these little wooden things. If you do use this, use a full length pipe cleaner, okay? Because what you can do is just add a little bit of glue on here, and then you just wrap your pipe cleaner around the skewer, okay? Till it's tall enough. All right, then you add a little glue to make sure it's all in there, let it dry, and then you can cut this to whatever length you want and stick it in. So if I wanted this to be a taller bow, I could do this, but I kind of want it to be down here, so I don't need that. Now, because I have the pick machine, I was able to kind of leave this little nub, this little teeny, teeny, tiny size, All right, about an inch. I'm going to move my handle forward, and that has brought a pick into my pick machine. You can see that. So then all I have to do is lay this inside the pick machine so the pipe cleaner lays flat along that spine of the pick. And when I push my handle down, these teeth come around and they're grabbing that pick, and I end up with this. From the backside, it looks like this. This is really freaking sharp. Don't jam it on your finger, right? Because I've done that, and it really effing hurts. Don't do that. Okay. I'm moving my pick maker off to the side. I might need this later, but now that I've kind of shown you how I've used it, I can just do that off camera, okay? So now let's fluff this bow. Okay, here's our tails. So this tail came down, so this loop goes up. So I go up, down, middle. I'll make sure that they're separate, okay? And then up and down. Now, if I had had a fifth one in there, or sixth one in there, I could have gone up, down, middle. But that's as far as I've gone. So now, because this one was up, this one is going to start down. Down, up, middle, down, up. Okay? And then I can start putting my fingers in here. And you just put your hand in here and just open it up. So that's going to take away some of the length and make it wider. Okay? So there we go. And this way, I mean, you can really see pretty much every loop. Now, in the center, I'm going to push that tail down. I want to bring these two opposites together because I want to hide that pipe cleaner. And when you do that, now you can't see the pipe cleaner. And you just got pretty little tails, right? Awesome. So that's how we're going to put that in here. So I am going to add some glue. Now notice, I didn't put any Spanish moss on this thing yet. My goal is to not put any Spanish moss on this thing because I freaking hate that stuff. But, okay, here I go. Let me push this in. All right, so this is going to be front and center. Okay. Pushing that all the way in. Now, if I wanted to, I could add a little bit of glue around there. Then I could go in and just kind of make sure my loops are kind of really stuck on there. It's not going anywhere. Just right on either side of that pipe cleaner. Okay, it's going to just give it so it doesn't wiggle, right? Wiggle it just a little bit. All right. That's not laying flat because my mat was worked. Okay. I've heard that I could take it and sit with it in the bathtub and that it would like straighten my mat back out. So maybe I'll go take a nice hot bath with my cutting mat and have some intimate time together, you know. Okay, I'm going to leave these curled up until the very end. And then when I'm all done, then I will mess with making these tendrils. But for right now, kind of just want to curl them up and leave them there. All right. So now we have our base and our bow. Now, the reason also I picked this base is, yes, it is short, but it's got a nice wide base because if this is going to be taller, I don't want to have anything that's going to possibly tilt one side of the neck. So that's why I picked this base. It's not as tall as some of my other bases that I have, but it's stable, and I like that. All right. Now I'm going to move on to putting in my first greenery. And so this is my 60919. As you can see, there are 3 sections to this. So I'm just going to pull these apart. Okay. And then this is kind of tall, so I can cut this. All right. And what we want to do is, if we stick it in there like this, it's kind of condensed, right? We want to let it breathe. This is the greenery's version of taking off your bra. Okay. We're going to pull everything apart. Let it breathe. Let these babies breathe. And you see how much more room it takes up. It looks so much more full than just kind of having it nice and flat next to it, right? There's a difference. All right. Now I do have 2 of these branches, so I have 6 pieces of this total. This one likes to get caught. There we go. And I also have my pick machine because I think I may need to add some picks to it, because you see when I pull it off, these are just individual little stems kind of wrapped in paper. So if that all comes off, then we're going to want to have something nice going in. If I just shove it in the foam like that, it's going to split into multiple pieces, and then it might not stay in. It might not go in well. So that's what I will sometimes use my pick machine for. But like the top piece that I cut off is usually pretty well bound, so I don't have to usually do that with that one. Okay. There's 3. Let's grab my other ones. Boom, boom, and maybe I'll make this one a little bit taller. Boom. All right. Separate it out. Let these babies breathe. Now, on the top piece, it has these like, I'm not like super thrilled with these like long pieces here, but they're like basically little long wiry sticks that come out. So what I usually do, come on, now it's all stuck around here, is I will take them nice and long, all right? And then I'll just kind of curl it around my finger. And then it kind of brings it in and it's not sticking out so far because that's not, I don't want that to be the tallest thing I've got, okay? But it's only on the topmost piece. So I'm going to separate this out. Oh, so pretty. Here we go. All right. It's usually the greenery pieces in the back, and then anything with color kind of comes up toward the front. All right. So I've got 6. I'm going to put them over here to the side. I'm going to start with, this is kind of the longest one, and I'm going to put this one front and center. Okay. Now I want to have this facing me. All right, so I'm going to just put some glue on here. You could use a glue pot. I use a glue gun because I burn myself too easily on the glue pot. And I just literally am going to shove this one right in. All right. Oh, that is nice. A little bit. There we go. Because when I put these in there, all right, these are going to have some height too. So that's kind of, I want to kind of keep the height like this. Anything taller, and I'm a little afraid that it's not going to stay in very well. Okay. Now this one I'm going to kind of go put towards the back. Add some glue. Shoving it in. All right. Now you see I did it where the berries are coming outward. Okay. I don't want to put the berries facing inward because by the time I get everything else in there, you won't see the berries, the twig and berries. Sorry. I know it's a bad joke. Okay, now I'm going to trim this. I'm going to straighten that out. But I want to put a pick on this to make sure nothing happens. So let me go to my pick machine. All right, I've put a pick on there. Let me say my stupid joke. You can pick your friends. You can pick your nose. If you pick your friend's nose with this, they're not going to be your friend anymore. It is sharp. It is very, very sharp. Okay. So now I'm going to put some glue on this. I've got 4 pieces. I'm going to do 2 on the left and 2 on the right. All right. And I want the berries kind of facing out still. So that one's going to kind of go in there like that. Okay. Bring it down a little bit. Cut this one. Go put a stem on it. All right, keeping the berries facing out. Again, here we go with the hot glue. I want to make sure when I add the hot glue, I'm doing it over something where if it drips down, it's not going to drip on anything that I'm going to be using in the arrangement. Okay, because that would really suck. We don't want to mess that up. Okay, so here's what I got so far. Okay, and then you can see this is where I need to add more. Save your sticks. You never know when they're going to come in handy. All right. I'm going to do 2 of these at one time. So I'm going to trim and trim. And then I'll go put some picks on these babies. Oh, now I can see comments. They finally came up. Linda, Cheryl, Karen, Natalie, Dana, Shell. Thank you so much for joining. So this is a candlestick, Shell. It's a candlestick, and I sprayed on a can of gaps and cracks. That is basically, it's spray insulation in a can. I get it at my local home improvement store, usually over by, I'd say where you can find masking tape and like insulation kits for windows. That's where I get that. So the thing is though, if you use that, you have to use the whole can at once. So I will often spray into if you've got mugs, if you're making mug arrangements or a planter, just have a whole bunch of things to spray that into all at once. Because once you start spraying, you have to use the whole can up. Otherwise, it's just kind of like wasted stuff. But I tell you, it works like a charm. As long as your container does not have, hold on, my pick of stuff, doesn't have seams. If it's got seams, then you have to be a bit more careful because this stuff can kind of seep through the seams. So you just gotta watch. If it does have seams, I have actually lined my container with tin foil. And it works. It works. It keeps it from breaching the tin foil so it doesn't come scooting out your container. What that also does is it lets you pop it out. So if you want something that's just going to pop in easily, you can change out what you have in there. So you can just kind of keep replacing what's in there, right? If you've got a pickup truck and you want to put in different arrangement for 4th of July, different one for fall, for Christmas, you just line it with tin foil and then spray your stuff in there. And then it'll just pop right on out. All right. I'm just going to go down here. Got a little bit of glue. I want to make sure it didn't drip. All right. Now I'm going to put in this last one. And so you notice I am definitely doing this with the berries facing out. Okay. Because we don't want to bury our berries. We also don't want to shove it up our butt because then you have a berry, enema. Bad joke, sorry. That was really bad, sorry. Okay, so here's what we have so far. This is kind of where we've got our greenery in there. I do have other greenery that I can add, but I'm going to do that kind of later. All right, so what am I going to put in here now? Well, the next thing I kind of want to put in here are these. These are yard stakes, believe it or not, okay? I got these from my grocery store a couple years ago. This is the last set of 3. I'm really hoping they have them again this year because they worked out really cool, but they're just yard stakes. But they are also perfect for an arrangement. So I'm taking the tags off. I'm going to cut these sticks down. I don't, if I put it in here that tall, that's going to be like, we don't want them that tall. No, I'm going to literally cut down at least probably half. Okay. Because I don't want these super, super tall. All right. But they're going to go in there like that. The other thing I have to cut off is if you see up at the top, there's these things to hang them on. So I just got to get real close and just trim those off because we don't want to hang these. There we go. Snippy, snippy. There we go. Oops, that one looks like it's, yeah. There we go. And then the last one. So this one, these had 2 different patterns. One was red, white, and blue on the base, and the other one was red, white striped. So I'm going to put stripe, blue, and then stripe. So my blue one's going to kind of go in the middle. If you watched me over the weekend, I made an Uncle Sam one on TikTok, and it had, or maybe it was here last week. I don't remember. But it had some of these fireworks coming out, and I was just very careful at the time. The angle of it, because the way it was coming out, it looked like my wreath had a willy. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, a willy. But I can't say the word, but you know what I'm talking about. It looked like my wreath was definitely a boy, but the way it was hanging out was a little weird. So I had to be very careful with the angle. So that's kind of what I'm going to do with these is make sure that they're not. I don't want to stick them straight up because I mean, we don't need that. But I figure I could kind of maybe put this one kind of coming up toward the center and then kind of out back and out back. So thinking of 3s, okay, 1, 2, and 3. It's a triangle shape. All right, so that's how I'm going to do this one. I'm going to put this gluing right on the metal stake. All right, and I'm putting it at an angle. Watch the angle, okay? So it's kind of coming out, all right? And then that way, I'm going to split these kind of between my loops. So it's like, ooh, yay, it's all excited. It looks like it's flying through the loops, okay? That's the perfect length. I like that a lot. So now the other 2 are going to kind of go off one side and then the other. Okay, so this one's going to kind of come out here. All right. I want to make sure that these come down and go through, and perhaps I can see them on the bottom here. I don't want them to get stuck in the greenery and get lost. We want to kind of see those tendrils hanging down there. Okay. I'm going to do this last one. Boy, I really hope they have more of these because I love these. I think they might have been like $6 a piece, but I think I also got some on sale too. But I got these at my local Jewel Osco. All right. Bringing these down. Another place that I've seen kind of cool patriotic decor is my pool store, American Sale. Granted, I had to wait till it went on sale at American Sale because it's a little higher priced, but they had some really cool stuff. So here we go. There is our, kind of see our, we can kind of bend it back a little bit if we want to, maybe bend it back a little bit. Yeah, there we go. All right. All right, so here we go. So we've got those in. Now I'm going to start putting in my florals. The first one I really want to put in, though, is this one. So this came from a different arrangement where it was beautiful florals, but this one particularly did not really fit with the theme. So I kept it. And I was hoping that I could kind of use it in something like this. So I'm going to trim it down a little bit. So this piece right here kind of just goes up and down, which is nice because I don't want it up that high, right? But if I want to keep it down here. So I'm going to kind of put this, I think kind of like in the back. And then these can kind of like flank it right and left. Because I only have one, I don't want to put it on one side as opposed to the other. Because then that would kind of look a little lopsided. All right. Here we go. These wires kind of coming up. And they'll be supported by other things too as we get things in here. But I can wrap it around a little bit of some of this and kind of give it a bit more support. There we go. All right. Woohoo! Pretty, pretty, pretty. All right. So now I'm going to start putting in some of these. So I'm going to start with my tallest. So I like to, here's what I do. I push all the leaves up. I want to use as many leaves as possible. If it's got leaves, I'm keeping them. Because I'm really desperately trying to not have to fill any of the foam that I see with Spanish moss. Because it makes me gag. It looks like dried pubes. Okay? It looks like dried pubes. It smells like dried pubes. I'm not a fan. If I can be honest, I'm like, obviously. All right, here we go. So then here's another red flower. I've got another red one. So I gotta try to keep the length of these kind of similar. So I'm gonna have to take a little bit of length off of here. Okay. There we go. Because I'm gonna kind of go like that. I've got a nice big red one in the back there, so I'm gonna kind of go on either side. It doesn't have to be exactly symmetrical, but I want it to at least feel somewhat balanced. All right, so push that up. Here we go. This is turning out really pretty. I'm really happy with it so far. All right. Especially because complete transparency, I'm not feeling very well today. So the fact that like this is going well and quickly is good for me because honestly, I spent the last 2 hours watching the last of my Star Wars Andor series because I just could not get up off the couch. It's one of those days where I just don't feel great for no particular reason. All right, let's go put some blue roses in here. All right, we're gonna put some of these. Maybe some of these toward the back. And I do have other red, white, and blue roses that I can add more onto this as I decide to keep going. I kind of want to keep the height of this one similar to that one, okay? But I really don't want anything to be so tall that it overshadows because these are supposed to look like they're rising up above everything else, okay? It's sometimes hard to get that height really spot on. But I love doing arrangements like this on a candlestick. My favorite way to do arrangements is on candlesticks. They are tricky to ship. I'm going to tell you that right now. It takes a lot of wrapping. I had a bad experience once. One of my customers, the UPS did not take very good care of the box. It arrived completely smashed. So I learned that I really have to wrap the base and everything else so much better, because you have to wrap it assuming that they're going to punt it like a football down a 100-yard football field, because that's kind of how their boxes go, right? So, okay. Now we're going to kind of take a little more off. A little bit. I want to kind of bring these down a little bit. So kind of like right here on either side, because I've got a lot of red up at the top and I need to bring that red down. Okay, so like one into there. All right, kind of like one into here. All right, now I can't forget I have beautiful full white roses in here as well. So let's cut off a bunch of these and see where we can put these. So I've got 3 tall ones. Yeah, roughly the same height on that. So let's take a look. I want to put one kind of in the middle here. All right. Get that one in the middle. I don't like that. That didn't go in very well. I think I was hitting a spot that already had glue in there, so it wasn't really going in that great. So I'm going to go try this again. And I want to put my finger a little further down on the stem so that it doesn't bend. All right, perfect. That looks good. All right. Going back here. Ooh, burnt my finger. Burnt my finger. Well, I'll be burnt when I am. All right. Here we go. Nice. All right, here we go. So that's kind of the back so far. I definitely feel like I need to put some more florals toward the front, so that's where I'm going to go get my blue roses. Okay. Adding my glue. Moving my loops, because I want to make sure I don't get any glue on my florals if I can avoid it. Sometimes I get it on there. If that happens, let it sit for a little bit until it's tacky, but like enough where you can pull it off and it stays in one piece, and then you should be able to pull it right off. Oh, that's looking nice. I'm liking this. This is going good. It's going good. Okay. Now I'm going to stop for a second because I have to figure out where I'm going to put these jewels, if anywhere. My thought was I was going to try to kind of like put them like on either side, flanking this. Yes, it's going to look like a twig and berries, if you know what I mean. All right, if I go exactly equally on there, that looks it's a little too much. So I'm going to have to go one higher, one lower, okay, so that it doesn't look so weird. So my next thought is, how on earth am I going to attach this into the arrangement? And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't freaking know. I don't know. I think what I'm going to do is grab some pipe cleaners, and I've got my pick machine, and I might actually wrap one around the stem to make that one higher up. So I'm going to focus on the one that is smaller right now. Let me see if I can. Okay, I have doubled this pipe cleaner, okay? It is doubled because I want this to be nice and thick, okay? Now I'm going to, there's a hole already. This was an ornament. This was a Christmas ornament. I got this at the very front section of Walmart, in the front of the store, believe it or not. They had red and they also had pink. This is called Holiday Time Ornament. It was only $3. for each gem. You can find similar gems at, they're carrying, Hobby Lobby is carrying gems now too. All right, I'm gonna go put a pick on this. All right, I have put a pick on this. I am now attempting to add on the glue. The tricky part is going to be making sure I don't get glue on my finger, because I know I'm going to do it. Ah! Flip it around, Linda. Flip it around. You put it on backwards, you butthead. There we go. Flipping it around. Okay. All right. So we can kind of see that one kind of hanging out from there. Now this one I want to be a little bit taller. So I am going to bend this in half. All right. Get a nice, good bend. I'm going to put it right through the hole. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to twist this. Then I'm going to take, first of all, I'm going to cut the wire off this, because these wires are useless. There we go. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the top of the stick. Okay. Just to kind of hold this. All right. There's no glue where my thumb is, and I'm just going to kind of start wrapping it around. All right. Wrapping it around. Wrapping it around. So we can get it nice and tight. Okay. So it's literally on the stick. Now I did accidentally hear it like a cracking, so I think I'm going to crack the stick somewhere. But I'm going to go back and add a little bit more glue, especially a little bit at the top. Okay, on the back of this. So I'm just trying to make sure that this stays glued to the top. Maybe I can add a little bit more glue. Add a little glue right at the bottom, right at the top. Okay, you see right at the top here. Just trying to add that glue. Dry faster. Okay, I'm just going to set that down. I want to let that harden up real good before I try to use it. So I'm going to clean up for a second here. All right. Make sure I can, I'm going to go back to overview and go back into live chat. All right, I want to make sure I can still see everybody. Everybody doing good? We all doing good? Anybody watch Handmaid's Tale, episode 9 last night? There's only one episode remaining. I was shocked. It was a fantastic episode. I love that show. I keep trying to, I got to finish up the current shows I'm watching before I start anything new. Okay, I'm letting that one dry still. Let's go put in the rest of these blue roses. I want to put some down at the bottom here. Okay, so I'm going to cut. I want to get smaller as I'm going in, so I'm going to cut that, push that up. So this stem on this is probably about 5 inches, okay? Because I'm trying to bring this down, because I really don't want to have to put any Spanish moss in. I know I'm going to have to. But that stuff is just, it's just ew. All right. Adding some more of this. And let me know, is this a good angle? I usually have done stuff at different angles, but this time I'm kind of doing it from this way. I know in the audio there's probably a buzzing, humming sound. That is, I think, unfortunately, an issue with the microphone and my phone. It only happens on Facebook, though. And on Mondays, I use my daughter's phone when she's away at school. So I stole her phone. She doesn't know. Ha ha. She don't know. Okay. All right. I think I might try to put this one up in there. It's a little higher. I'm probably going to end up adding some other florals into this, the other red, white, and blue bush that I've got. All right, kind of put that one up. I kind of met between the height of here and here. That one kind of goes in the middle. All right, let's go see how she's doing. Check it out. All right, cleaning her off. She's up there, nice and high. Let's see. I think I want to take a little bit off the height. All right, so I'm gonna go stick her in. All right. All right. I'm liking it so we can see one gem up here and then kind of one down there. All right, that's working pretty good. She's in there. She's in there. She's resting a little bit on there, but it's in there. Okay. All right, so that's our center. This is looking good. All right, what else are we going to add? We've got our florals done, so I'm going to hold off on any more florals for now. I'm going to start putting in the fun stuff. So I have these. Let's play with these. This came from my Deco Exchange Reef Supply box, which was awesome. It's like a birthday present to myself every month. Okay. So this is the tallest piece. So each one is a little bit different with what it's got, but it's going to help bring some blingy blingy into here. But I think I want this one to kind of come in the back. Sort of maybe like next to that red rose that has the stuff coming off of there. Okay. I'm actually going to twist it around a little bit, actually. So I can pull it apart and there's some smaller elements, like a little ball. I want the little ball to kind of be facing that way so we can see it. Okay, so there's that ball. Hit. We got balls. All right. Now this is wrapped well enough. I don't feel like I need to put a stem on that. I think we're good as it is. All right. Separate this out. All right. And let's bring this in so it's kind of behind our gem. Every time I hear or see gem, I just think of the 80s. Gem, truly outrageous. Truly, truly, truly outrageous. Yeah. Gem. Sorry. Her and Rainbow Bright, man. I was a little old for it. I was more Cabbage Patch era, but, you know. I think my cousin had a gem doll. All right, now this one I'm going to have same place, but on the other side for balance. Not exact symmetry, but like, you know, kind of a close enough sort of feel. Push, push, push. Go in, go in, go in, go in. Yay! There it goes. There it goes. Oh, this is looking so nice. This is fun. This is fun. Okay. What else do I have? I have some of these. Let's see what I can do with these. All right. They have a long wire, which is good. This one I'll cut off a little bit longer right down there. Okay, I'll turn that off a little bit. Okay. I think I want to try to put some stuff in like on either side of this, and I think this would be perfect because it's going to bring some stuff. It's not going to block anything because they're berries. I can still see stuff in there, see it behind there. Perfect. Oh my gosh, I'm really loving how this is turning out. So much better than I anticipated. I thought it was going to be a hot mess, if I can be honest. I was worried it was going to be a hot mess. I'm not even hot right now, which is odd because usually my hot flashes kick in because of these lights. But surprisingly, no. Maybe I'll go up a little bit more. All right. Very good. So it does not look... Okay, I was worried with the gems and this thing coming out that it was going to look like male anatomy. It does not, fortunately. Because every time I see stuff like that out in the wild, it makes me laugh my butt off. I just think that's funny. I'm going to try to maybe just stick this in the middle right behind it. Just because I want to keep these kind of together. All right. There we go. This is looking pretty good. Let's see what else we want to add. It's a little sparse, a little nakey along the back here. So what else are we going to put in here? I have... Uh-oh, I lost one of these. Man down, man down. I have 3 of these. I just have to grab another, but these are just our little Uncle Sam hats, okay? And then I have 1 thing of this. And because I only have 1 thing of this, I think that might mean, I think that's just nature's way of saying use it. Use it on this. All right. We're going to try to bring some stuff around the back. Let's add some height kind of in the back here, okay? So I think I am going to add picks onto these because the wire feels a little flimsy to put it in there on its own. All right, so I have wire in 1. I'm going to cut it down a little bit just so it gets to the spot where the wires are the thickest, most stable. A wire in 2. That's why having a pick machine is incredibly helpful for stuff like this. Now this one is taller, so I can just kind of leave it as is. Okay. All right, so looking at the back now, because I always imagine that people are looking at this from all sides, okay? So we don't want to just have stuff kind of just in one spot. One and one in the back. All right, I'm going to do, well, we've already got a lot up there, but I think I kind of want to bring this sort of like out more to the sides. So let's look at doing that. I want it to come out to the sides a little more, but not super, super wide. So I'm going to go here we go. Just to kind of bring it, see, just a little hint right there, a little hint right there. All right. I'm going to do the same on the other side, over here. All right, a little bit of that. And then the last one I'm going to put in the back, in the center. Now, I think, oh my gosh, my daughter's a G. Aria, honey, can you please close the door? I'm on a live. She should be going to bed soon. She's supposed to be going to bed soon. Whether or not she's gonna, that's anybody's guess. I'm gonna try to put this one right in the back here. Eek. Sorry I had to yell before, guys. All right. Just kind of put that in there a little bit. Oh, and there goes the door. Thank God. Sorry. I know you guys probably couldn't hear it, but all I could hear was her screaming at people online that she's gaming with. And I was like, girl, I'm happy that you're happy, but like, ooh. Lena, I don't do any, well, I have tried to do in-person wreath making classes at Painted in Naperville. And I haven't tried to do it recently. I really should. I would love to do something local. Are you guys, let me know who here is local to the Chicagoland area. Because that would be fun. Hey, Renee, my bestie's on. Hey, Nene, what's up? What's up, girl? What you doing this weekend? Anything fun? I am probably working on my business. Yay, fun stuff. Good times. Hopefully you don't have to work though. Renee works at Menards, and I imagine they're going to be extremely busy this weekend. I think I'm just going to try to put in, I have 2 of these. I'm going to try to put in 2 of these in the back. And this is, honestly, it's just kind of like a, oh, shnikes. Well, that didn't go well. Okay, so I got to hold off on that. It's on a straw. I thought it was on a skewer. It's on a plastic straw. And what happened was when I put the hot glue on, it melted. So I'm going to have to wait and put, that's going to have to dry, and I'm going to have to go put a pick on this thing. Hold on a second. Why would they put a plastic, oh, why would they use a plastic straw? That just makes no sense. That's just dumb. All right, so I'm just going to put the glue on the actual pick. Yeah, it did the same thing on this one. Okay, well, these are not going to be going in. That ain't going to work, ladies and gentlemen. That ain't going to work. Good thing I have some other backup items. I have these stars. I don't actually want to separate these. I think I'm going to keep these and put 2 of these back in here. I do have 3. But one of them I need to fix up because sometimes they come out. And then you got to kind of, there we go. I have to kind of push back in. There we go. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. Let's glue it. All right. That's the hard part about things on skewers is sometimes like as you store them or as they get stored, they'll pop out. So I'm going to take it easy with that. That one's going to dry. But I got 2 more of these. I also have these, but the reason I don't want to use these is because there's nothing on the back. So I want to use things that you can see from all sides that are okay from all sides. Go on here. Because I don't want you to see the back on anything because I am trying to offer this as a centerpiece. That's not working either. Oh, this whole thing's falling apart. What else can I put in? Okay, hold on. Stay right there, guys. I think I have some other stuff. I have a magic bin of, oh, stupid me. I just stepped on the other hat. Oh, I got a bin. Ah! I'm a hot mess, guys. It's a hot mess back here. It's a hot mess. Hot mess express. I'm bringing my whole bin up. I got a whole bunch of stuff here. Let's see what else I can put in. All right. You take all the stuff that's not going to work, move it behind me, and then take a look at what I've got. All right. Woo! It's surprise time here. Oh, I've got 2 of these. These are cute. These could go, right? Kind of back here. Or back up that way. I think I'm going to do that. All right. I like that. These came from the at-home store. These were $2.99 a piece, okay? At least I think they were. I'll tell you for sure in a second. Now that actually didn't go in as high as I wanted to, so I'm changing it. I'm going to come out the sides. We're going to bring this out the sides so we have better visibility. Otherwise, I don't think you would really see it as much. Kind of one there. Oh, that's cute. Yeah. Double checking the price tag. These were $2.99 at the at-home store. I was right. Now, the at-home store, it's just athome.com. They do ship. Okay. So, how tall is that one? Because that one feels like I cut it, but let's see. Let's see how far we get this one. I might have cut the other one. So, we're going to have to see if I've got to adjust this or not. There we go. All right. There we go. That looks good. Okay, kind of going around the back, seeing what else we want to stick in here. I don't really want to put anything too big, but I feel like we're missing a little something back here. So this is my good pick. I'm going to use this one in the back, in the center. Okay. I'm going to go in right here. Okay. That's in there. And then this one's going to bend one down, one up a little bit that way. If people are back here, no, I don't like it. No. It was too short. I don't like it. Just changing my mind, which I am allowed to do. Got a couple of these, which I feel like are kind of big. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Everything is caught on these little sparkly curls. So let's see. I got these from the Craig Bachman warehouse sale. This, I think this could work. I'm going to just put one in the back and it'll spread out. I'm going to straighten this all out. Here we go. I'm going to put a little dot of glue on the stick so that the ball will stay on top of that. So there we go. He's missing something, so I'm going to snip that off. Okay, so this is, straighten that up. Okay, so I'm going to try to put this, again, this is kind of like our back point right here, okay? You see right between these two. So I'm going to stick that in there. Now, yeah, I'm going to keep the length on this whole pick because I think there's just, we need that height from it. There we go. All right, we can bring that blue star down, that up, bring these apart. Okay, and it just fits in there seamlessly. That looks really good, just like that. Now I'm going to go back with just a couple. I'm bringing in, this is a Hobby Lobby bush. This was like $6 after. It was $9.99, but when you get it on sale, it'll be $6. But I want to bring in some other colors. I need some red. See red down here? So I'm going to just put a couple of these in here. So you see, like, this isn't really an exact science. This is kind of just, the arrangement is going to tell you where it still needs some stuff put. If it's a little, it still needs a little more in there. There we go. I like that. I still want a little bit taller of a red. So I'm going to go a little taller. Winding my way through here. Just be careful not to drip glue on your fingers. All right, that's looking good. Now back here, I feel like I need a little something. So I'm going to go with a white. And it's going to be smaller because I want to try to get this a little closer to the base. Down toward the bottom. I know I'm going to have to use Spanish moss. Dear God, I don't want to. All right. Maybe I don't. We'll see. But you can see on the bottom, we can still see all those little tendrils coming out from the fireworks, which is awesome. It's exactly what I want. Okay. Now on here, here's our front and center. Okay. So I'm going to do two things. First of all, I want to have the red rose right in the center here. Okay. Down at the bottom. I was seeing too much of the base. There we go. That's looking good. I like that. Keeping the width of this. We're going to mess with those in just a little bit. But I want to have a little white rose kind of coming down this way. See that a little bit? And I'll go check on the other side. Not that I want it to go down, but I want it to have it's not far enough. I'm hitting something. There we go. There we go. And I'll probably do something similar on the other side. Okay. Going in this way. Now if I can get this in here, now I've got two sets of leaves. If I can push that bottom set of leaves down and it hit there. It covers that foam, so God willing, I may not need to use the Spanish moss. Oh, happy day. Yeah, all right. Okay, all right. Let me get everything off the table here, okay? So I want to make sure we can see everything and that it all looks good. Bringing this down. Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got and what we need to secure. Especially, let's take a look at this right down here. So I already can tell it's way too long. So let's trim those off. Now if I go that and that, and that and that. All right, I have folded it. I think I just want to do gentle curl because I think the tendrils, it's not tall enough to handle the tendrils, but it will handle a nice, gentle kind of curling under here of those. So I did not dovetail those. I just bent the ends underneath. Okay, now this, I want to make sure it isn't twisting and turning. So I'm going to try to add some glue back there, and then that glue is actually adhering to this leaf, this greenery leaf right here. So it's going to kind of make sure that it doesn't really turn too much. So I'm going to hold that on there for just a minute. So let's talk through what we did. We used one loop, 1.5 inch ribbon. So this was red, white, and blue. I got this from Craft Outlet. Okay, so that came from there. We did some longer tails, which I've now trimmed, but we did 5 loops at 5 inches a piece on either side. So you've got that in there. We have these 3 fireworks that came from the grocery store, believe it or not. These were lawn stakes. So you never know what you can find out in the wild in a non-craft store. So keep your eyes open. We have these gems that I got from Walmart during the Christmas season. All right, but there are other places that sell smaller gems like this right now. Check online, check Deco Exchange, Reese Shop, Craft Outlet. Just check all places like that. Online retailers are going to be your best bet. In stores, not so much. Okay. The base came from Goodwill, and I spray painted it. And then these florals, the larger floral bush came from, I believe, Craft Outlet. The other smaller ones like those came from Hobby Lobby. This is mixed greenery bush called 60919 that I got. You can get that at Deco Exchange, or I think try General Wholesale as well. And then a lot of these little picks like this came in a wreath supply box from Deco Exchange, so you can check them out there. And that's how I did this. So I am going to have this listed for sale at sweetariadecor.com. That's where I have all of the items in my shop. I also carry ribbon, signs, and wreath kits, as well as some mesh. So check that out. There's 2 patriotic kits that are currently out there, and I am releasing lots of Christmas ones. I was going to release 1 a week, and I think I'm just going to start doing 2 a week so we get those out there. Okay. You can watch my replays on my YouTube channel, which is Sweet Aria Decor on YouTube. You can catch me on the Taki Tiki, wink wink, and the Insta as well. All right. Mondays at noon, I have Monday Crafter noon, and then every Wednesday night here on Facebook, it's Wreath and More Wednesdays. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you for joining me as we did our giant fireworks, our giant red, white, and blue display, which I think turned out doesn't look bad. It does not look like twig and berries. Okay, I think we're good. All right, because it's different heights. All right, but thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great night and have a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. All right, goodbye, guys.
And here is how the finished centerpiece turned out. I was really happy with it. I like the height. I like that it feels very stable, and it seems like it has enough going on without it feeling like it's too much. You can find this and a whole lot more in my store at sweetariadecor.com. Happy 4th of July! Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. You can follow me all over social media, and you can shop my store at sweetariadecor.com.